bedroom is $1,650.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Article number 2, I move that the town vote to authorize the Board of Selectmen pursuant to General Law, Chapter 40, Sections 3 and 4, to lease the real property and improvements thereon known as the Westfield site, more specifically located at Charlotte Furnace Road, consisting of 18.5 acres more or less, and identified on the instrument recorded with the Plymouth District Registry of Deeds in Book 4314, page 189, and the Plan Book 16, page 548, 4 sheets, as parcels 110 through 127 and parcels 165 through 173, and parcels 202 through 206 and parcels 232 through 235 and parcels 262 through 287 for the purpose of affordable senior rental housing for such numbers of years to be a maximum of 99 years, and upon such terms and conditions as are acceptable to the Board of Selectmen pursuant to the requirements of Massachusetts General Law 30B, and further, that such leasehold interest shall be subject to an affordable housing restriction, including but not limited to that found at Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 184, Sections 31 through 33, ensuring that all dwelling units constructed thereon be restricted for affordable senior rental housing purposes in perpetuity.
I heard a motion, a second. Mr. Chairman, would you be willing to modify that motion to say after 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the 5th line down after the 4 sheets in parentheses on, I believe it's Assessors Map 105A, is that correct?
Is that how you want me to modify it?
If you would, please.
As modified on Assessors Map 105A.
Which is how it read in the original article on page 3 in the warrant.
Thank you.
And that's seconded? Okay. You have the floor.
Mr. Moderator, if I may, I'd like to, with the permission of the moderator and the body, turn this presentation as proponents of the article for the full 5 minutes to the Town Board of Selectmen's consultant, Mr. Richard Heaton, who's here to make an initial presentation to the body.
All those in favor of allowing Mr. Heaton, the consultant for the Board of Assessors, to speak for 5 minutes, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? No. Mr. Heaton, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you this evening. I've had the pleasure of working with the town for about the last 3 years and have been working on this particular project, the Westfield project, for the last 9 months. I'm going to give you a very brief overview of what it is. I'm more than welcome to take any questions or comments that you have afterwards. In front of you there are 5 proposals that have been received by the town from a RFP that was issued after an extensive study was done to understand the need for affordable housing in Wareham. These proposals are representation from 5 developers who would like to build this project in Wareham for you. These are all credible developers. They have developed multiple affordable housing projects in Massachusetts. They can be visited and you can see them. The proposals that they have delivered are very complete. They're about 2 inches thick. They have a set of conceptual architectural plans in them, a description of the project, what their past experiences have been in managing other projects in the state, and what I find most important is a detailed financial analysis of the project. The financial analysis includes the cost to develop the project, who's going to pay for it, and how it's going to operate over the next 20 years. What's most important, without delving into each one of these proposals, which is not the purpose of tonight's meeting. The purpose of tonight's meeting is to ask you to authorize a group to evaluate these proposals and report back to you as to which one is the best. But what's important is there are 4 common traits that these proposals have. These 4 credible developers all believe the Westfield site is viable for an affordable housing project. They've been in contact with GATRA. They've made arrangements to have transportation to and from the site in private vans. But they believe that the Westfield site is an appropriate site. They're very excited about it, quite frankly, to build affordable housing. The second thing is that they believe that they can raise between $25 to $45 million to build this project. The different projects are built in different ways and they have different costs. That's why there's a range. But most importantly, they have identified sources of funds outside of Wareham, primarily from private investors and the federal and state governments who will fund this project and build it on this site. These developers have had experience doing this in the past. They know how to make it happen. It's a very lengthy process. It's a very competitive process competing for these funds, but they believe they can develop a proposal that will win funds for them and you that will allow you to build this project on site. The third thing is these developers have told us that they believe they don't need as much land as we initially wrote the article for. You'll notice from this chart, there's what the initial article that was printed in the warrant asked for a larger piece of land than what the developers came back and said they needed. They need about 18 and 18.5 acres is what the maximum project is. One of the developers feels he can do it in 10 acres. So as a result of that information that came in after the article was printed, the article was modified to the lower size. The final thing that these 5 developers have in common is they have done a detailed financial analysis, and they believe that they can generate a minimum of $4.8 million, a maximum of $7.6 million, depending upon the developer, that will come to the town over the next 20 years. These will be in terms of either taxes or fees for services that you provide them. These are, as I've indicated, these are detailed financial figures where they have gone through and scrubbed them to the best of their knowledge. That is their understanding of what it's going to cost to build the projects, and it's their understanding of the fees and the taxes that they will be paying you. But it is in the order of $4.8 to $7.6 million of additional revenue that you as a town will receive. What will happen after this meeting is if you vote in the affirmative for this article, the selectmen will set up an evaluation committee. The evaluation committee will review these 5 proposals and rank them. The proposal that comes out of the top, they will sit down with that developer and they will go through it, and the evaluation committee will go through it, and they will probably make changes to the proposal based upon what you would like to see in town. Typical changes have to do with services that are provided, have to do with the number of bedrooms in each unit. There may be things that you want on site, but they're things that you want to do in this project that you feel are in the best interest of the community. Those changes will be memorialized into a document that will move forward through different groups in town. One is the zoning board, because the zoning board needs to approve this as a multifamily project. The second is the CPC committee. This probably is going to ask for a... I'm sorry? Another minute, thank you. I'm very close to closure, so. The moderator says I have 1 more minute, so let me move quickly if I may.
The counter indicates 45 seconds.
We can see it, John. Let him talk.
Ladies and gentlemen, please, if he needs more time, we'll put it to the floor for more time. Please let him finish and we'll see where we are.
I love town meetings. The purpose here is, if this proposal is accepted and the developer and you can reach agreement, A proposal will go to the CPC committee, which will then make a recommendation